Hey guys, King of Charmander here. Today I will be your judge, jury, and your analyst. And today I give you the top 5 teams for Open Ultra League Part 3. So I actually climbed to Legend in Open Ultra League, and I can tell you it's chaotic as hell. Like, Legendaries plus XLs is an absolute nightmare. And you will see here just how literally how true that is. We go to the rankings, as you see here. If you go, as I always say, please consider contributing to pbook.com. We go to the top performers right here. We go to Ultra League, as you see here. Guess what dominates? Talonflame XL, Umbreon XL, and then you have Machamp. No, literally, Machamp is mad good. So is Gengar. As you see, statistically, there's a whole lot of chaos in Open Ultra League. I've tried a lot of different combinations for Snorlax, etc. I do better in Open Ultra League than Ultra Premier. That's just me, but I also found that it sucks when you combine, like I said, when you combine XLs and Legendary Pokemon. These are going to analyze the top 5 teams in Open Ultra League, and a lot of them have Cresselia, so be warned, you're going to see a lot of Space Ducks. So I'm definitely going to make another video for teams that just don't have Cresselia, but as you see, Open Ultra League is as impressive as ever, and let's get started. Alright, so team number 5 was actually the most powerful team in the previous season. So Obstagoon, Cresselia, and Gengar, which I think this one uses the Grass Knot Moonblast one. I think the other one had Future Sight, but it's basically the same combination, Obstagoon, Cresselia, and Gengar, with a whooping 10% usage. So 10% of people are actually using that team, and I faced it a lot in Open Ultra League, so I'm not really surprised that 10% were using this team, because if the Obstagoon boost goes through, it's really good, and Gengar is a fantastic closer just because Shadow Ball and Shadow Punch. Gengar can beat or nuke Talonflame. It also does really well against Cresselia and Giratina Altered. So, well, not really against Giratina Altered, but you can nuke Giratina Altered, so it's a very dangerous team. As you see here, bees across the board. This is a very good general team. Super friendly to use, and having it's basically just Obstagoon with double coverage against Machamp, but it's very good, especially if you get the boost with Obstagoon or if you win the lead, and again, the boost is always there, but great across the board as far as stat-wise, and it's really good. As you see here, you do very well against a lot of the meta, actually a lot of popular meta. That's why so many people use it. You technically lose to Talonflame in the 2 shield, however, you can try to, you could sacrifice Obstagoon if you want to, chip away and then farm down with Gengar or Cresselia. I'm pretty sure that's the play with Talonflame, because you need to expend both. Talonflame must expend both shields in order to take out Obstagoon. Or you can leave one shield on Obstagoon and farm down with Gengar. It's really up to you. But there's a lot of sweet plays you could do with this team. I would say your biggest weakness with Obstagoon is, of course, Machamp lead. However, if you do get a Machamp team, Cresselia and Gengar do very well against Machamp. If you look at your biggest core breakers are actually Articuno and Meganium, and it's not even that bad. So, the thing about Articuno is that Articuno takes neutral damage, so if you get the boost, you kind of can beat the unholy crap out of Articuno pretty comfortably. Registeel is also dangerous. I believe this is the Night/Cross-Chop version, so just to put it out there, you can use Hyper Beam or Gunk Shot with this team. The thing about Obstagoon, or what I've learned with my research, is Obstagoon's Cross-Chop, just because it doesn't get stabbed barely, it doesn't do a lot to Registeel. So, it just really, depends. I mean, normally you have Cross-Chop for Umbreon, but the thing about it is, if you're up against a Steel type, it does generally the same amount of damage, or it's pretty dang close, if you make comparison. So, I would recommend you run Cross Chop just to cover, just to help cover Umbreon, just for that. However, if you could still do heavy damage if you have Hyper Beam or Gunk Shot, either one. I've seen a lot of people running Gun Shot, and I've actually been canned a whole lot of times. I'm not going to talk about those experiences; those are very bad experiences. But as you see here, again, your biggest threats are Talonflame, Alolan. I would say Alolan Ninetales is probably your worst nightmare, just because of. Well, not really your worst nightmare, but as you see here, it does do pretty well against Obstagoon Cresselia, so just be a little careful when it comes to A9. But as this team is very solid, and it's really freaking good. So if you have Umbreon in the back, you can essentially core bait the crap out of this team, so that's the only thing I would worry about if you're up against this team. I've used Machamp and Umbreon core for like the first half of my Open Ultra run, and it worked really well only because it beat the crap out of this team, basically. This team is very good, though. As you see, as a threat score of 648, I have lost against this team because I've been finished, or I misplayed some situations. So, again, 10% of people are using this team. So, if you can't find something that works for you, this team can work really well for you. That's myself. But it ranks at 547, as you see here, and again, at 10.3% usage. It's pretty nuts just how popular this team is. Alright, the next team is Talonflame XL, Clefable, and Umbreon. So Talonflame XL is a lead I use. It's really freaking strong. You probably see a lot of people using it just because Talonflame is just such a beast. You can either take a shield and dip, chip and dip, or you could flame charge your opponent to oblivion and fry it to death. It's really up to you. It also does very well against Charmers. Speaking of which, this also does feature, this is a triple XL team. This is Clefable XL, Umbreon XL, and Talonflame XL. So a triple XL team with a Charmer. I like this setup just because Clefable is a very, like with Clefable, you can catch a Machamp in the back or an Umbreon in the back. It's really freaking strong. So Clefable XL is a beast. As you see, good for everything except coverage just because this team is kind of weird. You do really well against the overall meta. Yeah, your team absolutely annihilates Cresselia. Well, not really. Yeah, it does pretty well against freaking Cresselia. So as you see here, very good across the board. Clefable and Umbreon cover Talonflame because even though it says here you do beat Giratina Altered, you only beat Gira Altered in the 1 shield. So, in the 1 and the 0. So, in the 2 shield, you're in a lot of trouble. So, if you do see a Giratina Altered, you will likely just chip and dip. Hit a Brave Bird, then switch out into Clefable or Umbreon. Normally, what I like doing is I will Brave Bird and then switch to Umbreon because Umbreon can still tank a decent amount of damage even if it's weak to something in the back. As you see, this team's really solid against many combinations. And, of course, it's triple XL. If you look at what you're weak against, it is surprisingly good. With your biggest weakness probably being Melmetal. What you could do with Talonflame is take Melmetal shields and then, like, try to, like, farm down with Umbreon and then just sweep with Clefable. I've done it a lot, but this team is pretty dang safe, to be honest with you. You're not going to see a lot of Regirock. You can see Lapras, however, Lapras can still fall to Clefable chip damage, and Umbreon, of course, is very thick. So, again, this team is really solid. Not super safe. It's good in the safe, but not super safe, but it's still really powerful. Sporting a team threat score of 706, but you're not going to see a lot of your core breakers in this meta. You're not going to see a Golem a lot. You're not going to see Low and Raichu for sure. Tentacruel, if someone is running an Ultra League Tentacruel, you are a monster, but I'm pretty sure Tentacruel works as well, just because Poison Jab. But as here, this team is really good. Melmetal is probably your biggest issue. So if you see Melmetal, be careful. With Lapras, if you see a Lapras, you could chip and dip. You could fire a Brave Bird and then dip out. There's a lot of combinations you could do with this team. And if you look on the training score here, it is at 565. So you jump from 547 to 565. So this team is pretty nuts. It's super strong, really good. So I definitely like it for Open Ultra League. Alright, the next team is, man, people really like Cresselia. You know, Floating Space Duck is the most powerful City Switch for a very long time, and as you see here, you combine it with a Flaming Fire Chicken and an Amphibian Frog, and you have one hell of a disaster. In fact, I think this team, let's see, this team is at 0.08, so it's pretty, like, it's pretty low use compared to everything else, but, you know, it's Swampert always got that Hydro Cannon. No matter what you do, Swampert always has the freaking Hydro Cannon, man. I'm not even gonna let go. But this is an Earthquake Swampert. Swampert is mad good in Open Ultra League. As you see here, this team is pretty legit. Cresselia is your safe switch, and then you use Talonflame and Swampert to sweep, if so. But this team is just really strong. Overall, as you see here, this team is pretty insane. Talonflame covers a lot of things, but what I like about Talonflame lead is that you can chip and dip with Talonflame. Or what you could do with Talonflame is if you can bait a shield, switch in with shield advantage. So you can take a shield from Giratina Altered, switch in Cresselia, and then come out. Your opponent has to stay in, or what they're going to do is the Pokemon they switch in with will have shield disadvantage. So there's a lot of opportunities to do a lot of crazy plays with this team. Now, here's the problem. Swampert does beat you in the 2 shields, so does Giratina Altered, so if you do see either one of those, you swap. So, safe switch Cresselia breaks shields, and then you switch, and then you close out with Talonflame and Swampert. If they're not shielded at certain ranges, Swampert and Giratina A do go down, though. So, this seems very good. Also, you see Talonflame right here. In the mirror match, Talonflame, whoever gets that extra incinerating can come out with the W, so just keep that in mind. But, as you see here, this team is actually pretty dang safe against a lot of the meta. As your biggest threat is Giratina Origins. I personally don't see a lot of Origins at the higher rankings. I mean, it's out there, but not so much just because of Umbreon's dominance. Umbreon is so dominant, so is Obstagoon, that even Obstagoon beat Giratina O by the virtue that it has Night Slash, and 9 times out of 10, Giratina Origins is carrying double ghost attacks. Lugia can also give you an issue. However, I wouldn't worry too much about a Lugia in Open Ultra League because it does lose against Umbreon. Again, if you lose lead, safe switch into Cresselia, and then you could close out, do something fancy with Cresselia or Swampert. His team is mad dangerous, though, as you see here, does really, really well against a lot of meta. Gyarados could give you a little bit of issue, but you can chip away with Gyarados with Swampert's Hydro Cannon, so there's a lot of ways you could play out his team. Surprisingly, this team has a pretty low threat score. 635 doesn't seem like a low threat score, but a lot of other teams I've seen are 650 plus. So again, really, really good team. If you do have a Talonflame XL and a Cresselia and a Swampert, this isn't a bad idea for a team. Alright, team number 2 is full of XL Pokemon, and there was one person if you see here, there's like one person running this team, so this is a unique team. As you see, if there's a team with a small sample size, it may be the result of an individual player. 0.8, that's very likely. Scrafty, Cresselia, Mandibuzz. I've actually seen this. A lot, but I saw Scrafty in the back more. But this team is really busted. As you see here, a tremendous amount of bulk. This uses Future Sight Cresselia, so Future Sight Cresselia is there to make up for Talonflame. Because with Future Sight Cresselia, if you land a Future Sight through shields, you can possibly take switch against a Talonflame if you have energy advantage. But this team does feature someone. This is somewhat of an ABB team, not really, just because it's like BAB, but like double dark basically. It's really good, and all of these are XL. So as you see here, this team basically is here to. Even though Cresselia does have a strong matchup against Scrafty, you can KO with Cresselia at a certain range with foul play. Obviously, Cresselia is your safe switch into Cresselia, and then you sweep with Scrafty or Mandibuzz. This team basically almost auto-loses to Double Charm. Obstagoon Double Charm will essentially erase this team, because Obstagoon will destroy Scrafty, or not really, actually, that's not, wait, hold on, no, that's not, what you call it, Double Charm, well, they safe switch, let's see, you safe switch, they send it to Cresselia, and then, well, basically, one Charmer can erase Mandibuzz and Scrafty with a shield, so just be careful. I am wrong, though. Scrafty does beat Obstagoon just because Obstagoon is double weak. I think the Pokemon I'm thinking about is, what's the double, I forgot what that double, yeah, there's, if it's Double Charm in the map, well, Talonflame Double Charm, I think that's the one I'm thinking about. Talonflame Double Charm. I haven't seen that team a lot, but if you do see it, Talonflame Double Charm will erase this team. But as you see here, this team is basically designed to destroy Giratina A. Gira A does well, if it's Dragon Breath Giratina, it's not so bad against Scrafty, but if it is Shadow Claw, your opponent's going to be scared, because Scrafty absolutely trucks through the steel typings. It also trucks through Umbreon as well as Politoed. If Scrafty revs up, you're pretty much dead. That's pretty much it. But this team is insanely powerful. As you see here, your biggest weakness is Talonflame. But like I mentioned, that guess that I made, it's just Cresselia with Future Sight takes out Talonflame. So Talonflame does go down to Cresselia with Future Sight if you can land the Future Sight. And yeah, if you can land the Future Sight, you put your opponent in a lot of danger. And you could possibly take back switch. Or you could set up farm down plays with Mandibuzz or Scrafty. As you see here, this team, Cresselia is kind of your, like, Cresselia, you can take it out, just be very aware if your Scrafty gets Moonblasted, it's likely going to die. So just keep that in mind, like even though you do beat Cresselia in a sense, it's also very dangerous, so yeah, just putting that out there. Also, Alolan Ninetales can give you a hard time. Mandibuzz, Aerial Ace is a terrible move, and with you could rev up against Alolan Ninetales, but if it's a Charmtails, you need to get the hell out of there with Scrafty, because Charmtails will absolutely not erase Scrafty and Mandibuzz to oblivion. So just be very, very careful. Alolan Ninetales is probably the worst Pokemon you can see with this team. or the Charmer lead in general, which is why Alolan, Ninetales, and Clefable do give this team a very hard time. But this team is super strong. A number 2 rating isn't easy. As long as you avoid the Charmer, 646 is a very powerful rating. And as you see here, it is 12 points, or yeah, 8 points above the team number 3, so it's really good. But again, it is triple XL, so all of these Pokemon are really inaccessible, so just keep that in mind. It is triple XL. If you don't want to use this one, the other version above, the next one above it, the most powerful team, does beat this by a few points. But again, this team is stupid expensive, so if you do plan on using this, you need a Scrafty and a Mandibuzz XL along with a Cresselia. Cresselia luckily doesn't need to be Elite Tian because it doesn't need Grass Knot, but still, this team is mad expensive. Alright, and the most powerful team for Open Ultra League. I actually ran this at one point. Like, well, I ran it for like Sims, and then I tried it out like in practice, and then I kind of didn't like it. Like, I still like it, but I didn't like, it wasn't really working at the time, so I used something else. Anyways, as you see here, this team is used at 1.8% with a near 600 rating. In other words, it's really freaking good. I can tell you from personal experience of using this team that it actually will statistically get you, like, consistent. Like, I think I 4-1 and 5-0'd when I was using it, but for some odd reason, I didn't like it, so I switched. But it is statistically very powerful, and I'm not just surprised that 1.8% are using this. It does require you to have an Umbreon XL. So the thing about this team is that Umbreon XL is probably the most accessible XL because Eevee spawns a lot, especially in cloudy weather. When XLs were first introduced, Eevee was spawning a lot, and there was a lot of opportunities for you to get XL candy for your Umbreon. And a lot of you really like Umbreon, and because Umbreon's been out for so long, you very likely have a perfect 2 build for a level 50. But that's why Umbreon XL is pretty good. This does require you to have Cresselia, so either get it from your friend, or if you do have one, it can be good. I don't like the barrier to entry for Cresselia because it hasn't been out for a while, and it's just mad expensive in general, so is Umbreon XL. But this team is statistically very, very powerful, and I can tell you from personal experience, it will get you W's in Open Ultra League. Now, the reason why this team is just stupid, as you see here, this team is ridiculously powerful. This is the strongest Open Ultra League rating I have ever seen as far, like, the whole entire time I've been analyzing stuff since I started doing analysis videos for Open Ultra League. This is definitely the strongest I've ever seen. Amazing bulk, amazing safety, amazing consistency, because with Umbreon XL and Cresselia as your back row, you'll catch a lot of things, and it has good coverage. Now, I would consider this to be an A, because here's a secret. Machamp actually beats Talon, so little known fact for those of you who watch these, like, you probably already know about it, but Machamp can beat Talonflame and Articuno straight Rock Slide. Because of that, I consider it the strongest lead, and that's why you see a lot of people running Giratina Altered in the lead, or running Cresselia leads, just to specifically counter, well, not to specifically counter Machamp, but just to hopes that you could catch a Machamp lead. Machamp leads is insanely powerful. As you see here, you beat a whole lot of combinations. Your worst nightmare being a Charmer. So I've ran the Machamp Umbreon line a lot. You can beat a Charmer, but it needs to be in the back. If you see a Charmer lead, Cresselia is very thick, so you might be able to pull something off, but unless Machamp has an incredibly dominant matchup against the back row, you're going to have a little bit of a rough time. So, but this team is extremely powerful. I'm going to go with the threat score. So it's 678, but the only reason that it's kind of dangerous is because, like I mentioned before, literally it is just Clefable. I don't really mind Meganium too much. You can beat the unholy hell out of Meganium in the 2 shield, so I wouldn't worry about losing him out too much. As you see, a lot of your weaknesses are literally grass-type Pokemon, which are Meganium and Serperior. Skarmory XL can give you an issue as well, and for some odd reason, I have seen a few Venusaurs that are being led in Ultra League. The problem with Venusaur is that if you don't have Future Sight, Venusaur does beat Cresselia, just because your charge, even though Psycho Cut does super effective damage, Venusaur will just bully you, like, just absolutely, like, run you over, and, like, it will just run you over. So Psychic types beat Poison types, but unfortunately, if Cresselia doesn't have Future Sight, Venusaur is going to kill you, sadly. Venusaur does get taken out by Umbreon, so if you do see Venusaur in the back, Umbreon does really great against the elemental meta. So fire types, grass types, water, etc. Umbreon will do well against all of them. Again, the biggest weakness is the fact that if you see the Charmer in the lead, it really sucks. I have beaten it before, but it was a very, very rough. It was very rough matches. Basically, Machamp and Umbreon, either one of them dominated whatever Clefairy, whatever was the other two in the back row. Because again, the Charmer lead is very, very rough. If you get in the back, line up Cresselia against Clefable, or you could possibly Rock Slide Togekiss to death. It's really up to you. But this team is insanely powerful, and it is the most powerful team in Open Ultra League. It's also kind of accessible. I'm not really surprised that a lot of people are running it at 1.8%, just because there are, like, Machamp, it did have a community day. Cresselia has been out for a minute, and Umbreon, like I said, is the most accessible XL. You don't have to hatch 12k eggs like Scrafty or Mandibuzz. And along with even Clefable, just because Clefable XL came out so late, then it's not likely that unless you're at a Clefable or Clefairy Nest, you're not gonna have XL candy for Clefable unless you have really great ground spots. But again, this is the most powerful team, crazy overall coverage, and if you're struggling to find a team, if you have this one, it could work for you very, very well in Open Ultra League. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really hope it does help you out. As you see, Open Ultra League, I did make Legend with it, but I can tell you from first-hand experience, XLs plus Ultra League is just, it's not a healthy place. In my opinion, it's easier to climb in Ultra Premier rather than Open Ultra League. You don't see a lot of people trying to climb in Ultra Premier to make Legend, or like in Open Ultra League just to make Legend, just because of how oppressive it is. And just because it's a whole bunch of chaos. Like I said, when you combine legendaries and XLs, it's a hot mess that you don't want to be a part of. I made Legend in it, and it's extremely difficult, but again, like, Open Ultra is my jam. I did make Legend in Season 6 in Open Ultra League, so I hope these teams do help you out. I do think the #1 team, from personal experience, like I said, Machamp, Cresselia, Umbreon, is really, really good. I think it'll do very, very well with you, and I think it can help you push that last couple Idol Legend if you're struggling to find a team. Whichever one your goal is, good luck in your Go Battle League sets. If you haven't done so, please like and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. It is free, and if you look below on the bottom right, you can click on that little box, and you can easily sub right there. You don't have to click at you don't even have to, like, scroll down. Just put your mouse to the bottom right, and then click subscribe. And that's it. Thank you for the sub. Thank you for the like. I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for all the support. Good luck in your Go Battle League sets. If you haven't done it, if you haven't made Legend yet, I lagged like minus 1,100 points. Plus points, actually. I stopped counting at the beginning of Ultra League, so even though I lagged to Oblivion, lost a whole lot of Yo because of it, I still made Legend. You can too. Keep on trying, keep on battling. We still have plenty of time, and you might get that lucky streak you can get to Legend. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets. Wish you the best of luck. Take all my energy, and I will see you guys on the next video.